across the street when I was
West
right,
Broad.
and then once I became a high school student, then I was able to walk from.
Talk a little bit about Lions. Who were the principal and some of the teachers who were
Will Amos
Mm-hmm.
was the assistant principal out there. I'm trying to think. It's been so long ago. I think now Mr. Stroud came along after he wasn't out there yet.
Okay.
But I'm trying to think who was out there. I can't remember the principal's name.
Some of the teachers?
Some of the teachers were, you remember Miss Jones?
Yes.
Vera Jones, I think she was one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Reverend Gill and his wife
Okay.
were teachers.
Okay.
Because I think they were driver ed people even out there. And I think once I came here to high school, I think he was able to come up here
Okay.
and work here too.
Okay.
One thing that I do remember about Lions that stuck out in my mind, I missed the bus one morning because I thought I was going to stay out of school. But when I missed the bus, my mother said, "You're not going to stay here. You got to go to school." I walked from Broad Acres to Lions School.
That's a few miles, Mr.
I
Lord.
never forgot that.
That's a few miles.
And I didn't miss the bus.
Huh? How far is
That's
that?
a good minute.
Yeah.
And back then, see, it's not like it is now.
Mhm.
Back then, it seems like it was from here to Monroe
Yeah.
because it was a long ways out.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't, Athens was not city like
Mm-hmm.
all the way like it is now.
Okay.
All the way out and,
Yeah.
here, there.
Uh-huh.
No, it was country.
Right.
When you left downtown, you walked into the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember walking out there that time.
So that was one day.
And that was one day. That was one day. I mean, I rode the bus back,
Uh-huh.
but I never forgot that.
Uh-huh.
So I didn't say, I didn't miss the bus again.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the Lions School experience was, just like probably anything else.
Right,
It was the same expectations were
Right,
required
continue.
out there.
Mm-hmm.
We got paddled
Mm-hmm.
if something happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a whole lot about all the details
Right.
of what happened out there,
Okay.
but some of the things.
And then you came here.
Then I came here.
Was it Athens High and Industrial then?
It was
or what?
Athens High Industrial.
Okay.
We were the first class. The class of 1965 was the first class to graduate from the name Bonnie Harris High
Okay.
School.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we were first class.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the class of I think we left it was a monument out there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not there now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it was. It's
Okay.
not there now.
Mm-hmm.
But we left a monument that said Bonnie Harris High School when the name changed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me about high school.
Well, high school was a different experience. I mean, from the earlier times. One thing I think I mentioned a minute ago that I had a sister and a brother that were very good athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got here, when I got here, some of the same teachers that taught them were still here.
Okay.
And once they found out my name and learned who I was, they used to badger me all the time about playing football.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother didn't want me to play football.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
And let me tell you why she did.
Mm-hmm.
Because the brother that I told you about that was so good,
Mm-hmm.
he impregnated a girl.
Mm.
And back then,
Mm-hmm.
if you impregnated a girl, you had to marry.
Okay.
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 And he had to marry.
Okay.
So he was married. He had to marry out of being forced to marry.
Right. Okay.
And my mother had a hang up about it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I was badgered so much in high school,
Mhm.
I snuck out for football.
Okay.
I didn't tell my mother. She didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
And so after a week or two had gone by, because I had to tell her,
Right.
because they were getting ready to decide who was going to stay on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't want to stay on the team anyway. I didn't think I would make it because I mean it wasn't no big deal with me. I just wanted to do it to shut these people mouths,
Really?
so they can leave me alone. But what happened when I told her? She said, "Well, I thought I told you." Now, I said, "Yeah, I know you did." I told her why I did. And she said, "Well, I tell you what. If you go back and they call your name and you make it, I'll let you stay out there."
Okay.
Well, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So then one thing led to another.
Okay.
And I started playing. As a matter of fact, I started playing a lot of different positions. So then, I got good enough to just be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it happened with that. So,
did you play any organized football before
No.
then? That was
never played in organized
until
football.
high school.
Mhm.
Okay.
Never played it.
All right.
No, never played any little league. As a matter of fact, we didn't have the league.
That's what I was getting at.
No. Didn't have middle school football. We didn't have that either.
Mm-hmm.
So high school, I had to go out there and play with these big old guys who were knocking your head in. And that's how I got into the game.
Who were the coaches?
Doc Holmes,
Mm-hmm.
Walter Jackson,
Okay.
James Holston,
Mhm.
James Crawford.
Okay.
Those were our coaches.
Okay.
Because Reverend Billy was our basketball coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, after I went out for the football team, then she said, "Well, if you want to play basketball, you play basketball."
Okay.
So that's how I got into that.
All right.
But it was a heck of an experience.
I
Yeah.
bet you.
It was a heck of an experience.
What else do you remember about Athens High Industrial and Brent Harris clubs, activities, teachers?
Yeah,
Just
I remember. Now, my high school experience was, of course, a little different academically
Okay.
than the early years.
Mhm.
And then this is what I'm getting at. Most of the teachers that I went to, like Miss Gay, Mac Adams, people like that, when they gave you lesson assignments, you had to go to the board. I don't even think they do that anymore. But that helped me in a lot of ways because at that time you had to have your lesson, because if you got up in front of the group and didn't know how to do a math problem, you were embarrassed. Or you didn't know how to complete a sentence in English, you were embarrassed. So it kind of forced you
Peer pressure.
to study. That kind of thing. Now, I distinctly remember that because that helped me more than anything.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing that I remember is that they had senior speeches. I don't know if you ever experienced that, did you? Okay. What they used to do when we came into high school, every year, the seniors had to go to the gym and say a speech in front of the whole student body.
Okay.
But my senior year, they cut it out.
Okay.
And I was glad. Yeah, I was glad.
Yeah.
I probably could have done
He
it,
would have done it.
but
He didn't want to.
I was glad we didn't have to do it.
Okay.
And those are the kind of things I think that kind of transition us into the academic world. And they used to always say back then that what you learn now will stay with you not only for life, but it's going to shape and mold you into being a man or a woman.
Okay.
They always talked about that. And I did mention that we were in a segregated system, and some of our teachers used to always say this: when you get out there into that world, you're gonna have to work twice as hard to accomplish small things. Oh, we didn't understand it then,
Right.
but once we got out there, it became crystal clear.
Okay.
And it still resonates today. It's the same thing. So those are some of the things that I remember.
Okay.
Back
And
then.
then in 1964, class of 64, Is it when you graduated?
No,
You said
65.
65.
Yeah, we were
Okay.
first class, yeah.
65. And then,
65.
then it would change
And then
over
from
to-
there, I went to Southern University
Okay.
on a football scholarship.
Okay, okay.
As
Had you had any jobs before you left in high school or as a kid?
I think I had one job, and I worked out at a pizza out here on Broad Street,
Okay.
where the building is still there.
Mm-hmm.
It was Papa's Pizza or something like that.
Okay.
I worked in there making pizzas.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned how to make pizzas.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that was the only job.
And that was in high school?
That
or-
was in high school.
Okay, okay.
That was-
Where's that building?
You know where Farmer's Furniture is out here?
Mm-hmm.
It's at a 45-degree
Across the
angle
street in that area.
across the street.
Okay.
The building is still
Okay,
there.
okay.
As a matter of fact, I think it's still functional
Okay.
with some kind of business. I don't know what it
Okay.
is.
So
but it's
you worked
still-
there.
Yeah.
You learned how to make
I
pieces.
learned how to make pizzas.
Okay.
That's right.
And then you went to Southern.
And then I went to Southern.
Did any other students from Athens go to Southern at that time with you from the
Yes.
class of 65?
Yes.
Who were
James
they?
Fair,
Okay.
O.D. Lester,
Okay.
James Earl Smith, they called him Mug.
Mm-hmm.
He went he went 2 years before we did.
He was there when
As a
you
matter of fact, he was the largest center
Mhm.
in America at that time. He weighed 270.
Okay.
So, you know, the guys back then weren't that big
Mm-hmm.
like they are now.
Okay.
So he was the largest center in America,
Mm-hmm.
they say,
Okay.
on record.
What
James-
happened to him in terms of he went to
He went to Southern.
Okay. Did he?
And he had been there. He'd been there 2 years before we got there.
Okay.
So in 1960, he went in, let's see, 63, 64, 60. So in 67,